He's actually eating metal pieces of carp.
I almost couldn't believe that there was someone who could eat this much metal and glass.
You won't believe these people actually exist. From men who can hold their breath longer than a dolphin, to tribes that can see in total darkness, and even individuals who chew glass like candy. This isn't science fiction, it's real. Across the world, humans are shattering the limits of biology, bending the rules of physics, and redefining what's possible.
It is so powerful, and it's been shown to be powerful in the immune system. We believe it will also hold some real potential for treatment of neurologic diseases.
These aren't myths. These are living, breathing proof that the impossible is just another challenge. Here are 20 superhumans hiding in plain sight. Number 20. The jumping Masai tribe. The Masai people of Kenya and northern Tanzania are known for something incredible. They jump straight into the air, over 2 feet high, without running, bending their knees, or using any equipment. It's part of a traditional dance called adumu, where young men, known as morans, warriors, stand in a circle. One by one, they take turns jumping straight up, again and again, as high as they can, while keeping their bodies straight and barely moving their arms. There's no music, just the chanting of the group, encouraging each jumper to go higher. This is not just for fun. It's a ceremony that shows strength, endurance, and readiness to become a warrior. The higher you jump, the more respect you earn. So how do they do it? The Masai are naturally tall and lean, which helps. But they also walk long distances every day and stay very active from a young age. All of that builds the leg power needed to jump so high with no help at all. To outsiders, it may seem like they're violating the laws of physics. But for the Masai, it's simply who they are. It's a tradition that's been passed down for generations, done barefoot, on dirt, and with total control. Number 19. Kevin, the lion whisperer. You've heard of a baby whisperer, right? But what about a lion whisperer? Yep, that's a real thing, and his name is Kevin Richardson. While most of us wouldn't even think of stepping near a lion without an armored vehicle, he's out there hugging them like they're oversized house cats. Kevin's not just some daredevil with a death wish. He's a trained wildlife behaviorist who spent over 20 years building trust with lions, hyenas, and other big predators.
The purpose of the sanctuary is animals live out their lives in peace, entertainment and excitement, hence these walks.
And we're not talking cages and leashes. He literally walks among them, hand feeds them, and even naps beside them. Wild, right? His secret? He skips the whips and dominance tricks and instead focuses on emotional bonds, treating the animals with respect, empathy, and loads of time.
Better protect lions out there in the wilderness. There's a bigger part of me that says...
And guess what? Some of these lions actually get excited when they see him coming. Like tail wagging, purring, kind of excited. It's not magic, it's trust. Kevin raised many of them from cubs and understands their moods like your best friend knows when you're angry. Kevin's work is based on years of study, connection, and serious commitment to animal welfare. But yeah, to the lions he's not prey, he's family. Number 18. Mystic who survived without food nor drinks.
India's medical world now looks to answer that very question.
He has not eaten anything, he has not drank any kind of liquid.
How long could you survive without food or water? Maybe a day or two tops. Now imagine going 70 years. Yes, 70. Meet Prahlad Jani, also known as Chunriwala Mataji, an Indian yogi and self-proclaimed breatharian who claimed he lived without a single bite of food or sip of water for over 7 decades. No snacks, no hydration, just nothing.
Prahlad Jani has been described as a hermit and not eaten or drunk anything for nearly 70 years.
His secret? According to him, he was sustained by a goddess, literally fed by divine energy. Wild, right? And get this, it wasn't just talk. Scientists were so intrigued that they ran not 1, but 2 medical studies on him in 2003 and again in 2010. He was under 24/7 surveillance, and guess what? No food, no water, no bathroom breaks. Yet, he was healthy and chill. Of course, it left doctors scratching their heads, and the scientific community is still debating what really went down.
I was doing his sonography twice a day. He was claiming that he is absorbing the urine in his body, which was difficult to explain as far as the science is concerned.
But Prahlad Jani became a spiritual icon, with followers who believed he was living proof of the mind-body-spirit connection taken to the extreme. Whether you're a skeptic or just fascinated, one thing's for sure, this is not your average fasting story. Number 17. The girl who authored a math workbook as a teenager.
Maths is your favourite subject?
I just love maths. All the numbers and the solving is like a mystery.
Most 6-year-olds are still learning how to tie their shoes or color inside the lines. Esther O'Cady. She was out here solving equations and sitting for her first GCSE in math. Yep, at 6. Esther is a British-Nigerian math prodigy who didn't just dabble in numbers, she dominated them. By 10, she was already enrolled in Open University, tackling advanced math courses from the comfort of her home, while most kids her age were still figuring out their times tables. Her goal? To earn a PhD and open her own bank before she turns 20.
So what do you want to do when you finish your degree?
Well, I'll go to my PhD. From there, I'll start running my own business. I want to be a banker.
Casual. And don't get it twisted, she's not just smart, she's got style too. Esther loves fashion, writing, and playing like any other kid. She just happens to do it all with a brain wired for numbers most of us can't even pronounce. Some kids play with Legos. Esther builds her future with algebra. Number 16, the nurse who can smell Parkinson's disease.
Now, she astonished doctors with her ability to detect Parkinson's disease through her sense of smell, has helped scientists develop groundbreaking research.
If you could choose to smell anything in the world, freshly baked bread, ocean breeze, maybe a luxury perfume, what would it be? Well, Joy Milne didn't get a choice. What she got instead was the rare, mind-blowing ability to smell Parkinson's disease. Yep, Parkinson's.
He was telling us individual had Parkinson's before anybody knew. So then I really started to believe her that she could really detect Parkinson's.
As in the neurological disorder, it all started with her husband. 12 years before he was even diagnosed, Joy noticed something was off. Not his behavior, his scent. She described it as a musky, woody smell that clung to his skin no matter what soap he used. At the time, no one believed her.
This started with your husband, and you noticed a different smell on him.
Yes.
Fast forward to years later, after her husband's diagnosis, Joy mentioned this strange ability to researchers. They were skeptical, but curious.
How you discovered you had this sense?
Well, before my husband was diagnosed, a good 5 to 6 years before, I recognized a change in his smell.
So they ran an experiment. They had her smell t-shirts worn by different people with Parkinson's.
6 people who had Parkinson's and 6 people who didn't have Parkinson's, and getting them t-shirts and taking them to Joy to smell them.
Some without while she was blindfolded. The result? Joy nailed it. She identified every single Parkinson's patient by smell alone, even flagging one person as having the disease before doctors had caught it. And guess what? That person was diagnosed with Parkinson's shortly after. Now scientists are working with Joy to help develop early detection tools, because if we can smell the disease before it shows symptoms, that could change everything. So, yeah, Joy Milne isn't just a retired nurse. She's the woman with the nose that science couldn't ignore.
Parkinson's before he knew. But then I really started to believe her that she could really detect Parkinson's simply by odor transferred onto a shirt.
Number 15, Frank Gardner. Have you ever heard of someone surviving the impossible? Meet the man who got shot 6 times. Yep, 6 different bullets hit him, and not just anywhere. We're talking about vital organs, lungs, liver, stomach, and the works. By all odds, he shouldn't be here. But guess what? Not only did he pull through, he made a full recovery and went right back to doing the same job that nearly killed him: journalism. The man's a war correspondent, and after that near-death experience, he didn't retire or disappear. He picked up his mic and got back in the field, because for some people, telling the story is worth the risk.
Socotra's culture and its ecology are unique. They've developed in near isolation from mainland Yemen over the centuries.
Number 14, Ellen Boudreau. Meet Ellen Boudreau, a woman who's blind, autistic, and one of the most astonishing musical savants ever recorded. Her story isn't just inspiring, it challenges everything we think we know about how the brain works. Ellen was born in the 1950s in Louisiana. From a young age, it was clear she experienced the world differently. She was completely blind from birth, and later diagnosed with autism. But while she struggled with speech and social interaction, her brain revealed something extraordinary: perfect musical memory. Give Ellen any piece of music, just one listen, and she can instantly play it back on the piano, note for note, with flawless timing. She doesn't read sheet music, she doesn't need practice. Her memory and pitch are so accurate that even trained musicians are stunned.
She is still able to tell you the exact time of day to the minute and second without ever seeing a clock.
Experts call this condition savant syndrome, a rare neurological phenomenon where individuals with developmental disorders show exceptional abilities in one specific area, like math, art, or in Ellen's case, music. Even more incredible, Ellen also has a perfect internal clock. She can tell you the exact time, down to the minute, without ever seeing a clock. Some researchers believe she uses subtle environmental cues, like temperature and sound, to track time subconsciously. Number 13, Alonzo Clemens. Alonzo Clemens doesn't need fancy tools, hours of research, or even much time. Just a quick glance at a real animal or even just a photo and boom.
But show him a fleeting image of an animal on TV.
Or what the Animal Planet.
He can sculpt it with jaw-dropping accuracy. We're not talking about rough shapes either. We're talking anatomically correct, lifelike animal sculptures, down to the muscles and posture.
You just use your fingers.
Yeah.
We watched him work out every detail, from the mane to the muscles.
And here's the wild part. Alonso is a savant with a developmental disability. After a brain injury as a child, he suddenly developed this extraordinary gift. No formal training, no art school, just pure instinct and raw talent.
But a childhood accident left him with a traumatic brain injury. He can't read or write or do math.
Give him a few seconds, and he'll give you a masterpiece. Number 12. Flo and Kay Lyman. Meet Flo and Kay Lyman, identical twins, autistic savants, and living, breathing music encyclopedias.
The world might never have known about their amazing talents if local news anchor Dave Wagner had not befriended Flo and Kay.
Their special skill? Play them any song from the 1960s, 70s, or 80s, and they'll instantly tell you the artist, album, release date, and sometimes even what day of the week it dropped. No joke. Their memory is that sharp.
And what day of the week was that?
That was a Monday.
January 15th, 1983.
Or that was a Saturday.
They've got what's called calendar memory, which means they can recall almost every detail of their lives, from what they ate on a random Tuesday in 1974 to what song was playing on the radio that day.
Yeah, that premiered on September 9th, 1985.
It's like living with a time machine in their heads. Flo and Kay don't just remember music, they live it. Number 11. Louis Cyr. Think your gym crush is strong. That's cute. Now let's talk about a man who made strength look like child's play. Louis Cyr. Born in Quebec, Canada in 1863, Louis Cyr wasn't just strong, he was superhuman. By his teens, he was already gaining attention for lifting hay bales and pulling wagons like it was light work. But it didn't stop there. This man could backlift 4,337 pounds. That's nearly 2,000 kilograms, or roughly the weight of a mid-size car with people inside. And if you think that's impressive, wait for it. He once lifted 500 pounds with a single finger. Yes, you heard that right. One finger.
You man know what it is to lift 536 pounds with one finger? It's unheard of.
Cyr also reportedly carried a platform holding 18 grown men on his back, lifted a fully grown horse off the ground, and could stop pulling horses from moving forward. Something usually only seen in movies with CGI. And the best part? All these insane feats weren't just circus tales. They were officially witnessed and documented in front of large crowds and even doctors at the time. In a world without steroids or fancy gym tech, Louis Cyr built his strength on raw muscle, farm work, and sheer willpower.
He weighed over 300 pounds and was able to lift on his back 4,300 pounds, a record that has stood the test of time.
Number 10. Savant tribe. Ever touched something hot by accident? Maybe a sizzling pan or boiling water. Your first instinct is to yank your hand back and probably shout something unprintable. Now imagine walking barefoot across blazing volcanic stones and doing it with a straight face. That's just a regular day for the Savant tribe of Beka Island, Fiji.
To this day, members of the Savant tribes are able to walk on white hot stones or high priest of the firewalkers of Fiji.
These men don't wear protective shoes or prep their feet with tricks. They simply walk barefoot across stones heated to over 500 degrees Celsius, 932 degrees Fahrenheit, like it's a stroll through a garden. And no, it's not some illusion or tourist stunt. The ritual is part of a sacred tradition passed down for generations, believed to be a spiritual gift given to a select group within the tribe. They call it Vila Vilarevo, meaning jumping into the oven, and they believe it connects them to their ancestors and the spirit world.
The spirit god offered to give him power over fire. To prove his gift, pit was dug and lined with stones.
There's no flinching, no burns, no rush to cool their feet afterward. Just calm, controlled steps over rocks hot enough to fry an egg while the rest of us are out here getting blisters from the sand at the beach. Scientists have tried to explain it as timing, technique, toughened souls, but even they admit there's more going on here than meets the eye. Gift? Tradition? Mind over matter? Whatever it is, the Savant firewalkers make the impossible look effortless and a little bit magical. Number 9. Michel Lotito. Most people snack on chips. Michel Lotito, he snacked on bicycles, literally. Known as Monsieur Mange-Tout, that's French for Mr. Eat-All. Michel wasn't your average foodie.
How is that?
Very, very good.
From 1959 until his death in 2007, this French performer had a diet that would send most people straight to the ER. Metal, glass, rubber, you name it. He ate it. And we're not talking small pieces here. Over the course of his lifetime, Michel reportedly consumed nearly 9 tons of metal. That includes 18 bicycles, 15 supermarket trolleys, 7 TVs, 6 chandeliers, 2 beds, and yes, a whole Cessna airplane. He ate the plane in pieces over 2 years.
Monsieur Mangetou ate 18 bicycles, 15 supermarket trolleys, he ate 2 beds.
Doctors were baffled. But it turns out Michel had a rare condition called pica, which causes people to crave non-food items. His stomach lining was unusually thick, and his digestive system was somehow able to handle it all without a problem. No ulcers, no internal bleeding, just clean plates and crushed metal.
Due to his extra thick stomach lining and strong digestive juices.
To make things go down easier, he'd break everything into bite-sized pieces and wash it down with mineral oil and water. No ketchup. No complaints. So next time you say your diet is unusual, just remember Michel Lotito once ordered a plane and finished it. Number 8. George Christen. Some people lift weights with their arms. George Christen, he lifts furniture with his teeth. This strongman from Luxembourg holds one of the most bizarre and jaw-dropping Guinness World Records ever recorded. One day, George decided lifting dumbbells just wasn't enough. So what did he do? He carried a 12-kilogram, 26-pound table with a 50-kilogram, 110-pound woman sitting on it using only his teeth. Yep, his teeth. And this wasn't just for a couple of seconds. He actually walked 11 meters, about 36 feet, while clenching the entire setup in his jaw. No straps, no tricks, just raw grip strength and a seriously committed dental routine. But this wasn't a one-time stunt. George Christen is a record-breaking powerhouse who's known for all kinds of odd feats, like tearing phone books in half with his bare hands or inflating hot water bottles until they burst. The man treats pain like it's a mild inconvenience. Honestly, most of us get nervous about chewing hard candy. Meanwhile, George is out here hauling full-grown adults with his mouth like it's nothing. Number 7. Gao Bingguo. Most of us start sweating the moment a single bee gets too close. That sharp buzz, the tiny wings, the possibility of a sting, it's enough to send people running. But for Gao Bingguo, a seasoned beekeeper from China, bees aren't something to fear. In fact, he decided to turn them into a world record.
To China now, where a beekeeper has set a new world record after coating his body.
In 2023, Gao did something that most of us can barely wrap our heads around. He stood completely still while over 1,100,000 live bees swarmed and settled on his body. Altogether, they weighed about 109 kilograms, roughly the same as a professional boxer. And they weren't just on his arms or legs. They were everywhere, crawling across his face, neck, torso, and even inside his ears.
He was helped by his fellow beekeepers, who poured large balls of bees from hundreds of hives to his body.
Why would anyone do this? Gao wasn't looking for attention. He was chasing a record. His goal was to set the Guinness World Record for the most bees on a human body, and he pulled it off. The stunt wasn't just about standing there and hoping for the best. It required patience. Years of experience with bees, and nerves of absolute steel. Believe it or not, Gao walked away mostly unhurt. He got a few stings here and there, because of course he did. But considering what he put himself through, it was a small price to pay for making history.
In an hour, bees weighing 109 kilos had covered him, breaking the 83.5 kilo record.
It's not magic or superpowers. Gao has spent decades working with bees, learning how they think, how they move, and how to keep himself calm while surrounded by tens of thousands of stingers. To him, this was just another challenge, another way to test the limits of human tolerance and trust in nature. So the next time a bee crashes your picnic and sends you ducking for cover, just remember, somewhere out there, a man stood completely still while a million of them crawled over his skin, and he didn't even flinch. Number 6. Zdeněk Zahradníček. Most people can barely handle being in an elevator for too long. Now imagine being buried underground in a coffin for 10 whole days. Sounds like a nightmare, right? Well, for Zdeněk Zahradníček, it was more like an extreme endurance challenge. In 2012, this Czech filmmaker and daredevil decided to spend 240 hours buried alive, all in the name of pushing physical and mental boundaries. He was sealed inside a custom-built coffin complete with food, water, and ventilation, and lowered into the ground in front of a live audience. No sunlight, no fresh air, no room to stretch. Just a man, a box, and the pressure of knowing there were several feet of dirt above him at all times. Why do it? According to Zdeněk, he wanted to test the absolute limits of human endurance and confront one of the most universal fears, claustrophobia. And if that wasn't enough, the whole thing was part of a documentary project exploring how people react to extreme isolation. For 10 days straight, he lay in total confinement. No standing, no walking, no natural light, just breathing, eating, sleeping, and trying not to panic. When he finally emerged, he was dehydrated, stiff, and pale, but alive. And more importantly, calm. Because somehow, in complete darkness, he found the mental clarity to prove a point. Sometimes, the scariest place to be is alone with your own thoughts. So while most of us complain about sitting in traffic for an hour, just remember, Zdeněk Zaradníček spent 10 days in a box underground and came out with nothing but a story and a slightly sore back. Number 5. Budimir Šobat.
I'm not talented. I'm not talented at all. I'm just stubborn. That's a huge difference. Maybe I was talented for some other sports, but for free diving, not.
Most of us start panicking after holding our breath for, 30 seconds? Maybe a minute if we're trying to impress someone in the pool? Well, Budimir Šobat absolutely shattered that bar. On March 27, 2021, this man from Croatia held his breath underwater for a mind-blowing 24 minutes and 37.36 seconds. No, that's not a mistake. That's almost half an hour without breathing. To be fair, he did breathe in pure oxygen before the attempt, which is allowed under Guinness World Record rules for this category. But still, most people couldn't do 5 minutes with that advantage. What Budimir pulled off is in a completely different league. He's a trained static diver, meaning he specializes in holding his breath without moving, just lying still in the water, focusing entirely on controlling his heart rate and staying calm. And calm he was. For nearly 25 minutes, he floated silently, motionless, while the rest of us would have been flailing or passing out. But it's not just about breaking records. Budimir dedicated his attempt to raise awareness for children with autism, including his own daughter. So not only did he master his body's limits, he did it with a purpose bigger than himself. Number 4. Suresh Joachim. You know that moment in a song when the singer holds a long dramatic note? Impressive, right? Now imagine holding one single note. Not for a few seconds, not for a minute, but for over an hour and 40 minutes. That's exactly what Suresh Joachim, an endurance world record collector from Canada, did in 2009.
With Suresh Joachim, who holds 67 world records.
He held a single musical note for 1 hour, 43 minutes, and 55 seconds straight. No breaks, no wobbles, just pure, uninterrupted sound. It wasn't about pitch perfection or melody. This was a test of control, lung capacity, and mental focus. And if you think it sounds easy, try humming one note without pausing for a full minute. Now multiply that by 100. Suresh is no stranger to extreme challenges. He's the kind of person who treats world records like a to-do list. Longest dance marathon, longest movie watching session, longest ironing marathon. You name it, he's probably tried it.
Including longest man running, longest man standing on one leg, longest man drumming.
But holding a musical note for nearly 2 hours? That's next level commitment. Whether you call it vocal stamina, total focus, or just sheer stubbornness, Suresh hit the note and stayed there longer than anyone else in history. Number 3. Aboriginal trackers in Norforce. The Aboriginal trackers serving with Australia's Norforce. That's the Northwest Mobile Force.
A March Out parade welcomes 16 Indigenous men and women into the Northwest Mobile Force, Norforce.
Spot the tiniest detail from a kilometer away is just part of the job. These men don't rely on fancy tech or high-end scopes. They use eyes so sharp they can track movement or spot objects most of us wouldn't even notice, like a faint footprint in dry sand or a glint of metal on the horizon. So how do they do it? A mix of cultural upbringing and elite training. Many grew up learning to read the land and how to follow animal tracks, recognize disturbances in soil, or spot subtle patterns in the bush. That foundation, combined with military instruction, creates some of the most elite human tracking skills on Earth. And it's not just about animals. These trackers are trained to detect unauthorized vessels, smuggling activity, and enemy movements across Australia's vast and often unforgiving terrain. While satellite images help from above, these guys handle what no camera can catch on the ground. It's not superpowers, it's generations of knowledge, passed down through lived experience, sharpened into a modern military edge. So while most people would get lost in the outback in under 10 minutes, these men could tell you who passed by, where they came from, and what they had for breakfast, just by glancing at the dirt. Number 2. Kalenjin people of Kenya. Some people train for years just to finish a marathon. Then there's the Kalenjin people of Kenya, a group so naturally gifted at long-distance running, they could probably outrun most of us before breakfast. And the wild part? Many of them do it with little to no formal training. Hailing from the highlands of Kenya's Rift Valley, the Kalenjin aren't just fast, they dominate the world of distance running. We're talking Olympic medals, world records, and international marathons stacked with Kalenjin names year after year.
He has done it again! This is Superhuman! This is road running!
So what's their secret? It's a mix of genetics, environment, and lifestyle. Growing up at high altitude gives them stronger lungs. Their lean body structure gives them an edge in endurance. And many of them grow up running long distances to school, through hills and rugged terrain, not as a workout, but just part of daily life. They've turned what's normal for them into something the rest of the world views as almost superhuman. In fact, despite being less than 0.1% of the global population, Kalenjin runners have won a huge chunk of major international events, even sweeping entire podiums. So while the rest of us are lacing up our shoes and struggling through our first 5K, Kalenjin teens are out here making 26 miles look like a warm-up lap. Number 1. Bajau people of Southeast Asia. Most people start gasping after holding their breath for 30 seconds. But the Bajau people of Southeast Asia, they've turned it into a way of life. Known as the sea nomads, the Bajau are an ethnic group found mostly in the Philippines, Malaysia, and Indonesia.
Sulban is about to push his body almost beyond the realms of possibility.
And they've lived on or near the ocean for centuries. But they're not just good swimmers. They're elite-level divers who can hold their breath for up to 13 minutes and dive more than 200 feet below the surface without oxygen tanks or fancy gear. How? Well, science actually studied them. Turns out the Bajau have larger spleens than most humans, which helps store and release more oxygen-rich red blood cells during dives. It's a rare biological adaptation passed down through generations, shaped by centuries of underwater hunting and sea-based living. They dive daily to catch fish, collect sea cucumbers, and hunt octopus, all while holding their breath and gliding through the water like they were born in it. Because, in a way, they kind of were. So while most of us would need scuba gear and serious training to even try what they do, the Bajau just slip beneath the surface, calm, steady, and completely at home underwater. What do you think about this people with unique and rare abilities? Enjoyed this video and want more? Then please subscribe to the channel for more amazing content. Thank you for watching to the end. See you in the next video.